Friday Nugget, and we're closing out this series. I can't believe it. It's gone really quickly. So back again here with Dan Tynan, and last week we dove into a lot. I'm sure we only scratched the surface with it. So when it comes to Gen AI, we can understand all the concerns. What is the bright side? Like how are these tools going to make our lives better and not take all of our jobs and not remove all of our privacy or get us put in jail?
Well, I mean, and technology, and I've certainly been writing about technology a long time, and there's always a flip side. And so, like, take a smartphone, for example. We do everything with our phones now, and they can be our wallets. There are cameras, our brains, there are second brains. But, the downside is that we're spending all our time staring at phones. If you ever, ride a bus or a train or, anywhere, or a plane, everyone has their face in the screen. So there's a flip side, and AI is no different. And so, one of the positive aspects of generative AI is the fact that it does put these tools in the hands of common folk, like you were talking in one of the earlier episodes about, creating images using Midjourney. No way in the world you or I could create those images without some tool like that. So AI tools give you a head start on doing these things. If you need to send an email out to all your prospective customers or clients, you can have ChatGPT write that email for you, and then you go in, you tweak it a little bit, and you're done. So it's a time-saving device. So there's that basic level that everybody can use. And then there's things like, medical research. And one of the classic examples of AI stepping in a really big way was the first COVID vaccines. They were able to come up with a viable vaccine candidate 42 days after it first appeared in China. And that has changed things forever. It's changed vaccine development forever. Vaccines are going to come out a lot faster now. Another thing is, if you drive a car, there's a ton of AI in that car. All of the the little cameras and the LiDAR sensors in front. You have to decide whether that's a toddler or a tumbleweed, right? And they need to do it instantly, and they can, because they have this AI engine built in. A third thing is your bank account. Banks, financial institutions were among the first organizations to use AI, and they use it extensively. They spend more than $200 billion a year on AI for fraud detection.
Wow. Which
tells you how much money they save.
In fact, I forget the exact statistic, but I forget what year it was referencing, but it was like 90% of the data that exists has only been created in the last X number of years, because we're seeing this explosion of the amount of data.
It's funny, that statistic, because I've used it, has been around since 2003. And it is always the same statistic. 90% of the world's data has been produced in the last year. And it's true. That's how exponentially fast the amount of data is growing, because that's how digital we've become. We are at a really interesting point. These tools came out a year ago. It was last November that ChatGPT came out in public. They unveiled this thing, and it became this huge deal, and now everyone's involved. But, we're at the very beginning of this. It's like there's a snowball rolling down the hill. We're still at the top of the hill. And that snowball is going to get faster and faster as it goes. And so it's going to be a very interesting time. But it's also great that folks like you are doing shows on this, so we can get more people involved in the conversation about it. People need to understand this stuff, because it's going to have an impact on their lives, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, one of the chiefs of one of Google's chiefs of AI, his name's Ben Royce. I heard him speak, and he predicted that large language models and generative AI are going to have as big of an impact on the world as the internet did.
Absolutely. There's four big phases in this sort of computer revolution. The one is the personal computer. Second one is the internet. Third one is smartphones. Generative AI is the fourth one. It's going to have as big an impact as those three things prior to it.
Thanks again, Dan. I really, really appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to leave information for Dan's blog, Cranky Old Dan, and I'm going to leave a link in the description. A lot of really informative content, ranging from very funny to somewhat scary. And Dan, thanks again, and I hope to have you again. This has been great, very, very informative, and we'll see you all next week. Friday Nugget.